Welcome to Blast the Ball. Coach V is a lifelong soccer player, a soccer coach, and a soccer parent. And there's a pretty good chance that you're one or more of these as well. He and his team spent over 2 years researching, testing, and developing a simple but effective training approach that works well with all levels of players. So sit back and enjoy the ride. Now, here's Coach V.
Welcome to Blast the Ball. A soccer ball, a soccer net, and a foot. Sounds easy enough, doesn't it? Kick a soccer ball, put it in the net. Then why do we struggle with this so much? And I'm not just talking about young players at 6 years old or 8 years old. I'm talking about players into 12, 13, 14, even 16 years old. Struggle with the simple basics of kicking a ball. Blast the Ball will help you improve the basic essentials reaction shooting through a series of real live footage, real soccer players, and real coaches. So hold on, don't go anywhere. First, I want to address how this video is set up. The first section is called Information Overload. Information Overload is a brief review of everything about the soccer kick. It includes soccer science, soccer kick, and ball flight. Every single one of these sections should be viewed prior to moving on to the training sections. Next, we have Working with the Beginning Player, a simple training session to show you how to expose these things to the beginning player. I want to point out one very quick detail here. Don't skip this section. Even if you're an advancing player or an advanced player, you may get confused if you don't watch this session. Another important point about watching the beginner section is that at some point, you as a soccer player may become a mentor to a younger child, and it's important that you know everything in this section. Then we move on to the advancing player. The advancing player applies to both the advancing and the advanced player. We show all kinds of training methods, information, and science. Following that, we have a brief coach's corner to show you how to apply some of this during your practices. It's funny because, you got to understand that kids are kids. And while we train hard and we keep the training sessions short, they like to have fun. And this is how you do it. Teach them a basic skill, then transition over to something fun that relates to it. All good coaches do this. They start with the drill, they start with the basic skill, put it into some kind of a drill, and then move it forward into a game setting. This is just wonderfully fun for them. Lindsay's a great player. She understands the game, but she also understands the principle of learn the skill, then learn the game. It's just like golf. You don't go right out onto a golf course. Learn the skill, then learn the game. That's what professional players do. If they're having a problem with their game and their golf shot is off, something's wrong with their golf shot, what do? They don't go play the game more. They go back to the driving range, they get their instructor, and he comes out and works with them. If you're lucky enough to be Tiger Woods, guess what? You're out at an open somewhere at a major championship and you fly your instructor in because you've got a swing problem. You don't go out and play the game and hope to improve. It's the same thing with soccer. Work on the skills, then go out and play the game and learn the game. Take those skills to the field. Kids will be kids. The evolution of a soccer kick. To move forward and improve, we must examine where we are and where we came from. If you're working with younger players, you will definitely recognize some of these kicks we're about to show you. I want you to focus on 3 things. First, most of the players don't load their leg heavily, meaning they don't have a large backswing. They simply kick the ball from a normal stepping or running stride. Next, notice that their toe is forward on many of the kicks and it strikes the ball. Then, watch how hard they push their leg through the ball versus allowing it to impact the ball in a natural swing and release. What do I want you to learn from the evolution of a soccer kick that we learned from the evolution of a soccer kick? It's pretty simple. That young players and even advancing players simply take their natural swing path, they take a walk and the ball gets in front of it. They step and they kick. Even if they're running, they do the same thing. Now, as they advance, you're going to see they try and kick harder, and you're going to see this motion. And that's how they kick a ball. They actually force it out with their foot, thinking that's going to be more. Identify those problems and we're going to help you fix them. Parts of the soccer ball. It's critical that soccer players not view the soccer ball as a single object. We need to view the ball as being 5 pieces or sections. The ball should be viewed as 5 separate pieces. The upper half of the ball is struck when we want the ball to go low. The lower half is our focus when we want the ball to go high. Striking the ball on the right side will deflect the ball left. Likewise, striking the ball on the left will deflect the ball to the right. Striking the ball on the very center will send the ball on a straight path with little spin or deflection. Try and focus only on one sector at a time. Great strikers know exactly where they want to strike. They stare at it and they hit it most of the time. Okay, now I'm going to talk to you about your foot. There are 4 basic sides that we're going to do with the foot, or 4 places on the foot that we're going to kick. The first part is what people call the instep. And the instep is the top of your laces. The ball lands directly on your laces right on top. It does not go on any side, it lands directly on top. The next one is a sweet spot. And the sweet spot is on the inside part of your foot, just above your big toe. It's one of the largest bones in your foot, and when your foot locks out, it's a tremendous impact point. So what happens is, when you come through, bam, the ball hits right on the instep. Inside of the foot, this flat portion in here. Outside of the foot, anywhere on the outside of the foot in here is what we're talking about. That's what we want to see. Instep, laces, sweet spot, inside, outside. Those are the 4 parts we'll be dealing with. The laces means the top of our foot, not on the sides or off center. A straight kick is performed with the top of our foot. An angle kick is performed with a sweet spot. The inside and outside of our foot is pretty self-explanatory. However, striking the ball near the ankle will give the most stability. There's a bunch of misinformation about what happens to your eyes during a soccer kick, so we're going to clear that up right now. We're addressing the eyes issue, and just as in any sport where there's ball contact, eyes are always on the contact point. Always. Wherever that contact point is, that's where the eyes are. Whether it's golf, we swing, we impact, and we follow through. Our eyes are still at the impact point even on follow through. Baseball, same thing. Watch the ball comes in, we impact, and we swing through the ball. The ball is going to have an impact point, and that's where we are. Next thing we're going to do is we're actually going to play some tennis. Let's play some tennis. Same thing, when we play tennis, we watch the ball, we contact the tennis ball, and we stay there, and that's where we go through. It's that motion of load, impact, and release, allowing our body to pass through that we want. So what we have here is we have a little game. We have little pieces of tape, and you don't know the numbers of the tape, but you have to tell me after your kick, by keeping your eye down there, how many pieces of tape are under that ball, okay? So here I go. Now we're just gonna come in, an angle, just a nice little angle kick, come in, V-swing, and tell me where it is, okay? Tell me the number under the ball. Go. How many? 1, good. 2, good. On this shot and the next shot, notice the red line showing that the eyes stay focused through the shot. Take a look from a shooter's view. We take a quick peek at our target, then our eyes stay focused on the ball. They stay focused all the way through impact and into the follow-through. The point of it, eye stays down, swings through, even during the follow-through, into the follow-through, our eyes stay down. We're staring at a specific point on the ball. We're not looking at the ball in general. We pick the spot we're going to strike and we stare at it all the way through. That's how we perfect shooting. That's how you get perfect accuracy. Proper form, perfect ball strike. That's where accuracy comes from. Not from drills, but learning how to shoot it directly and straight. Why do I have a golf club? Well, I'm going to teach you that there are 4 parts of a golf swing and that there are 5 parts of a soccer kick. First, let's look at a golf swing. We have the load, the downswing, the release point, and the follow through. Those are the 4 basic parts of a golf swing. Now, let's talk about the soccer kick and the 5 parts of the swing. When it comes to the soccer kick, we have the same thing as a golf swing. What we have is we have 4 parts, but there's 1 extra. So we're going to come in and we have a load, we have a downswing, we have an impact point, and we have a follow through. Again, we have a load, downswing, impact, follow through. This seems like one motion, but it's really 4. Now, the last step is what all good players learn to do. After the follow through, they're looking for the next target. This is what I want you to incorporate into your kicking. We go ahead and we kick. After we're done, we go and we look for a target. Wherever that target is, that's the 5th step. That's what makes a finishing player, a finishing kicker. Always after the kick, what am I doing next? Okay, now that I've given you a little secret on the 5th step of a soccer kick, this is a simple drill that you can set up, and I want you to start doing this immediately. Whether you have a soccer player that's 7 years old or whether they're 27 years old, this is the training that has to happen to make them a finisher. This simple drill, we set up a ball, whether it's moving or still, and we have an object, either a cone or the net, that they have to touch after their kick. This is how it goes. That one little step, that one little extra 5th part of the soccer kick will make a player such a great finisher when it comes to kicking. All the time we see a player, they come in and what do they do after the shot? They stop and they watch. We don't want them doing that. What we want to do is after the shot, move, reposition somewhere else, either for your follow-up or for someone else's. Now we're going to talk about the athletic motion. And what I mean about the athletic motion is just simply that. What's the average athletic motion? When you look at baseball and you look at tennis and you look at golf, the entire body loads and it comes through and it goes into the follow through. We're going to show you professional players doing this movement, and I want you to watch their bodies. And what I want you to watch for is I want you to watch their whole body is loaded back, loads back. As they come through, the whole body comes through, and then the whole body releases. I want you to look for that motion in these shots. I want you to stay focused on the body from the waist down. Because it's a kicking motion, the lower portion of our body will produce the load, release, and follow through in one athletic motion. Notice the entire lower body, including the torso, hip, leg, and foot, all swing through the entire shot in one large motion. Understand this is where we really start to build power in our soccer kick. The load and unload motion of our body helps deliver a huge amount of velocity to the soccer ball. However, the full velocity or impact zone is only a small part of the full swing. Many times we waste this energy by delivering at the wrong time or point in our kick. Look at this picture and you'll better understand the impact zone. It is where we want to have the most power and speed of our kick. It only lasts a split second. It starts just about at the back of the ball and carries through just past the front. As our leg and foot approaches the ball, all our energy is stored, prepared to release. We release all this energy through the ball, and then we allow the leg to gently slow down after contact. Try and actually see the swing path while you kick the ball. Try and imagine that this short impact zone is almost like a whipping motion. Compare this thought to other types of swings in other sports. You'll realize better what we mean. A baseball swing, a tennis swing, a golf swing all have the same feeling. There is one point or section where we have the highest velocity. The soccer hop. The soccer hop is one of the simplest movements in soccer, yet the most overlooked. Beginning players don't do it, and they need to learn it. Many advancing and advanced players do it, but they don't realize they do it or understand how to properly use it. The soccer hop starts with busy feet with the player on their toes. Then the player hops onto their plant foot while at the same time loading their shooting leg. It can be a forward hop or lunge, or it can be a stationary hop and load. It seems simple and a bit silly, but it's the first crucial step in any soccer kick. The V-swing. You will constantly hear us talk about the V-swing in all our training sessions. The V-swing is simply the position of the thigh and lower leg. They form a V in all soccer kicks. The shape of the V varies in many different ways, and it will open and close through the kick. However, maintaining the V-swing through most of our kicks is critical. The V position of our leg helps build up power that we release as we swing through the ball. During our training sessions, we will show you exactly how to perform it and teach it. Now what we're going to do is we're going to show you the 6 kicks. The 6 kicks that we're going to do them very slowly from different angles so you can actually see what they look like and identify them. Before we take a look at the kicks, I want you to keep 2 things in mind while you watch them. First, the leg will come through in all of our kicks maintaining a V position. That large V swing is what we're looking for. Second, I want you to notice the position of my ankle and foot at the end of my backswing. Before the foot comes forward, it'll be locked and ready to strike the ball in the position I want. The straight kick. The straight kick is exactly what it sounds like. The leg comes straight back and goes straight through. There is no angle approach on this kick. The ball is kicked with the very top of our foot directly on the laces. The inside of our foot. Again, just like it sounds, we strike the ball with the inside of our foot. Notice we have a V position, but the knee and V are pointed outward throughout the entire kick. Outside of the foot. The outside of the foot swing path is much like the straight kick, straight forward and straight back, although we strike the ball with the outside portion of our foot. This is one of the only kicks that we might be actually facing away from the ball at a slight angle. The angle kick. The angle kick has more of an outward swing to it. The leg comes from behind us, comes down, it strikes the ball, and then has a tendency to swing back in front of us. Now, we're striking the ball with the sweet spot, just above the large toe. The chip shot. The chip shot, just like it sounds, we're going to chip the ball. We actually punch towards the bottom of the ball, almost striking the turf. Leaving a mark in the ground is okay during this shot. This does not have a huge follow through. It is just a load and a punch. The volley shot. Now remember, the volley shot can be performed with any portion of the foot. We're simply going to show you a straight volley with the laces on this shot. A volley shot is any time the ball is struck when it's not sitting on the ground. Whether it's bouncing or whether it comes directly in out of the air, we call that a volley shot. You'll notice that our leg has a hesitation. It's actually a step through. We don't want to see the foot actually swing through at the bottom. We want this to be a step through. Our foot almost pauses as it contacts the ball and we step through the motion. Now, let's watch the pros and let's see how they do it. Here, Dan from the Atlanta Silverbacks does a straight kick. Then he comes in and performs an angle motion. Now, side of the foot. And of course, the outside of the foot. Here he performs a chip shot. Remember, he is just punching at the bottom of the ball. And of course, the volley. It's just a gentle V-swing through the ball. Now, later on, we're going to go back and specifically define each one of these kicks and show you how to do these exactly. One of the issues we always have to deal with is the plant foot. I always joke around and say that if you stay on your plant foot too long, it's going to grow roots. We like players to stay very light. Leave the plant foot. And there are several ways we can do this. We're going to show you one drill in just a minute, how we step over a line after a shot. But the first thing I want to do is I want to show you what can happen when you go wrong with this. Two still balls. I'm going to show you a plant foot growing roots and then a plant foot being light the way that it should be done. I'm just exaggerating these kicks in slow motion so you can see them, but I think you'll get the drift of this. Normally when a player kicks a ball, they start to, especially as they get older, they have a tendency to put a lot of weight and even lean back and stay on that foot. And we want them to leave it. So let's do it wrong and show you how they do it. That's the wrong way. Now we're going to show you the right way. Again, exaggerated and slow. We're going to leave the plant foot, not excessively, just lightly. There are several things you can do to help a player start to leave that plant foot. Stepping over the line is probably the best one. The next one is get them moving on rolling balls. They don't have a choice. Don't let them stop. We talked about the sixth step on a kick. And what that sixth step is after you shoot, they have to go to another position. If you make them do that, if you make them continue their forward motion, they will automatically start to leave that plant foot. It's a great way to learn it. We're going to be talking about your natural swing path. And what I mean by your natural swing path is when you walk as a human, your legs swing naturally in a certain path. Now you can do this and you can figure this out by walking on, if you have a deck on your house with boards, if you have hardwood floors, or if you have a carpet with lines on it, you can actually walk down and you'll see that your feet stay within a certain swing path. That's what we're talking about. The natural swing path is where you get the most velocity and you get the most accuracy from. And here's how you can figure this out yourself. What you can do is get a piece of string, about 4 feet long is fine. And I want you to take this string and I want you to take the very tip of it and I want you to hold it up to your pelvic bone, some people call it a hip bone, and then go over and I want you to touch it to your other pelvic bone. You're going to have a piece of cord that's this long. Now, you can cut this cord. Once you cut that cord, that's going to be your natural swing path. Now I want you to do something. Go down and touch your feet. Stand naturally, let your feet hang naturally below you. Just reach down and touch your feet. Notice that this end and this end strike the center of your feet. That's because your legs fall directly below your pelvic. This is your natural swing path. Now, it's important to remember that this section right here is not the space between the inside of your foot and the ball. It's not that. This is not the amount of green grass you're going to be seeing. And I'll show you what I mean. You put this on the ground and plant your foot right on top of it, right on the center of it. The ball has to be on the center of it as well. And now what you'll notice is that you have a small piece of real estate or a small piece of grass in between your foot and the ball. And it's going to match up to about that amount there. for most people, that's going to be somewhere, depending on the kick that you're using, it's going to be anywhere from 2 to 6 inches roughly in there that you're going to see. It might be a little bit more if you're doing an angle kick. Now I'm going to show you another way to double check this yourself and to find your own specific swing path distance. What you're going to do is you're going to take a piece of rope, put it on the ground, get something to hold on to. I use a golf club. You can hold on to a chain link fence, you can hold on to a wall, but all I want you to do is have a pen in your other hand, and I want you to put your plant foot right on the end of that rope. Now that's the center of your foot. And then you're going to swing your leg through. Just swing it through without looking at the rope. Swing through and stop at the rope. Go down and mark the rope. The center of your foot or the strike point. Next, we can do it with the inside of the foot. We step and we swing. And we're going to stop right at the motion of the rope and mark it. Now, keep in mind that I'm not marking the end of my foot. I'm marking the strike point on my foot, where the ball is going to hit my foot. Outside of the foot, mark it. Angle kick, step in, angle kick. Swing through, stop, and mark it. Again, at the strike point, which is your sweet spot, not the outside of the foot. Right there. Okay. Now what I want you to do is I want you to pick up this rope, and I want to pick up your hip rope. And I've got my mark here, and then put the other rope right here, and guess what? The two pieces are going to be real close. They're almost going to be identical from your natural swing path that you've practiced with your foot and how wide your pelvic joints are. So again, this is not the grass space that we're going to be looking at. We've got to take off a little bit for the distance for half your foot, half the ball. And now this is your green space. This is the amount of space that you're going to see in between the ball. So we put this down, we step in, and we strike. That's the distance. You do it yourself and you figure it out for yourself. Okay, now I'm going to do 2 shots. Wrong shot, right shot. Wrong shot, I'm going to be stepping my plant foot far away from the ball. And then on this one, I'm going to be planting it the right way. On the long shot, I'm going to do both these shots kind of slow and exaggerated so you can see them. But on the wrong shot, you're going to see my foot release early and the ball curl off. The right shot, even though it'll still have some spin because it's an angle shot, you're going to see the ball go in more of a straight trajectory with more power.
Now let's watch the pros and see how they do it. Here our good friend and Atlanta Silverbacks forward, Dan Antonis, one of the best strikers in the USL, kicks a ball. He's trying to hit the upper right corner of a crossbar. Now, keep in mind, Dan is 6'3" and weighs 200 pounds. He's also using the sweeping angle kick, so this should be the farthest placement away from the ball he should have. You can see that the distance between the inside of the ball and the inside of his foot is about 7 to 8 inches. The result is a natural swing and enough power to send the ball ricocheting 100 yards off the rock wall behind the goal.
Okay, so what have we learned today? With 5 cents worth of string and a magic marker, we've learned that you take information from people, but then there's a way to actually measure it for your body. Go out and prove this information for yourself. Find your natural swing path. Now here's a warning. When you first do this drill and you move the ball in closer to your other foot, you're still going to have that swing path, and guess what's going to happen? You're going to miss the ball, and you're going to hit the ball on the outside of the ball, and it's going to start to spin. Keep that in mind. You've got to slow this down. Slow motion reprogramming. Plant your foot, do it slow motion, gradually increase this, because it's going to be wrong the first couple times you do this. Now we're going to talk about accuracy, and this is my favorite subject because we don't deal with it. Accuracy comes from proper form. Let me ask you this, bud. Have we ever worked on accuracy drills or target shooting?
No.
Never. We have never done it once. We have done absolutely never, ever done an accuracy or target drill. And I'm going to show you something. What we're going to do is I've got, how many balls? I've got 5 balls here. And what I want you to do, buddy, is I want you to come up, take one peek at the right corner, and just kick it to the right corner. Come back, kick another one, come back, kick another one. Got it? Now, we put all those balls probably within about 3 or 4 yards of each other, almost all of them inside that back corner. 4 of them went in the corner, the other one missed the post by about a foot. Again, we've never worked on target practice and we've never worked on accuracy because accuracy comes from performing the movement correctly. If you perform it correctly, you'll be accurate. Why a ball curves? It's interesting. It involves a lot of science, and we're going to try and keep it simple for you without sounding like a bunch of professors sitting around with a soccer ball. But to do this, we're not going to use our small training ball. We're going to go to Big Brother. And old Big Brother's, he's going to help us out, and he's going to help us understand why a ball curves better. Let's try and keep this simple for you. There's a bunch of scientific information that goes along with this, but I'm just going to deal with the factors that really matter to you as a soccer player. What I want you to think about is as a ball travels through the air, it's really traveling through fluid. Air technically is fluid. And there's particles in the air, and there's all kinds of things floating around. And as it goes, if a ball is spinning, those things also come off to the side. So the ball is going through the air and the air is spinning, and these little particles are actually coming along as a ball spins. So if a ball is spinning, these are being pulled back along it. But at the same time, they're also being pulled this way as well. Now let me show you exactly what happens. As a ball is spinning this way, these particles come and they get stacked up on this side. So in other words, all of this particles, or pressure as we'll call them, the pressure builds on this side because the ball is pushing them this way. The ball is spinning this way, and the pressure is building here. You'll notice that there aren't any boxes over here or particles because they're being pulled away. They're being pulled. There's nothing over here. There's no pressure over here. So they're all coming around. They're being stacked up over here. Well, if you have pressure built up over here, which way is the ball going to turn? It's going to want to go to the side with no pressure. We have our boxes stacked over on the right side, so that means that the ball is turning which way? From right to left. It's turning this way, pressure is building here. High pressure, low pressure, ball is going to turn towards low pressure. However, if you kick a ball very fast, something else happens. There's another wall that forms in front of it. This is called a turbulent phase. You can get the impression of this if you move your hand back and forth. You can sort of feel air going over it, and the faster you go, the more air you feel. Well, imagine sticking your hand out the window at 50 miles an hour or 60 miles an hour out of a car. Your hand gets pulled back. There's a ton of pressure. There's a big wall that builds up in front of it. The same thing happens to a soccer ball. If the ball is traveling very fast, it goes into a phase called its turbulent phase. And the turbulent phase puts a wall of pressure all in front of the ball. And so what happens is the effect of the pressure and no pressure doesn't take effect on the ball. It doesn't have any effect. That's why you'll see a ball go straight out when it's kicked hard, even though it's spinning, and at the last minute, it has a tendency to turn in. Again, kick a ball fast with spin, you have this massive wall in front. It overrides the low pressure and high pressure. At some point, it leaves the turbulent phase, and what happens is this wall breaks down. When that wall breaks down, now the difference in pressure can take effect. Traveling fast, the wall is up. It goes straight. As it slows down, the front wall breaks down, the opposite pressure takes effect, and it'll start to bend. So what does that tell us? That tells us if you want a long curving ball, kick it at a medium speed. Put a lot of spin on it, let it go at a medium speed, and it'll be a long curving ball. However, you can kick a ball very hard, have it go straight, and as it slows down, at the last minute, it'll turn in. That's the science behind why a ball curves. Pressure, no pressure. Going real fast, you have a wall built up. It neutralizes the different pressures. That's the science of a soccer kick and why it curves. Okay, we've learned why a ball curves, and it's essentially because the ball is spinning. And all we have to do now is we have to make this ball spin to get it to curve. So how are we going to do that? Well, if I was to hold this ball and I said, I want to make this ball spin, how do I do that? What I do is I simply just put pressure on the side of some sort and the ball is going to spin. I simply have to put pressure, a glancing blow of some sort on the ball to make it spin. But if I want to make it spin and go forward, what do I have to do? I have to do a glancing forward blow. Again, a glancing forward blow. The ball will go forward and it will spin at the same time. Now there's two things for this. Of course, torque, which is friction, and then an off angle or off center impact will also cause the ball to spin as well. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to demonstrate a couple different ways to actually spin that. So we approach from an angle, we strike the ball, and we allow our foot to actually go on an angle or a path that's outside of where we want to actually go. So when we come in and we strike, the ball will actually go forward and spin. And we can do that with any kick. We can do it with an angle kick. We can do it with inside of the foot. A lot of shooters that you see when it comes to free kicks now, they hop in and they strike the ball with the inside of that foot and sort of scoop it and put that spin on it. You can also do it with a straight kick. You come in with a straight kick and just kick off center of the ball slightly. You will then put torque and you will deflect the ball slightly and the ball will spin. Now remember, we talked about if you kick hard, the first distance while the ball is traveling fast, the ball is going to do what? It's going to be straight. It's not until the ball slows down, until that pressure difference builds up, that the ball will actually curve. So don't try and kick a real hard ball and expect it to turn in. It's a medium kick. Or you can kick it hard if you want it to go straight and then curve at the end. Why am I sitting down taking a break? It's because I'm about to talk about ball flight. And let me tell you what, ball flight is a subject I'm not looking forward to because it's so complex. And for the longest time, we tried to figure out how do we put this into a perspective where all players could understand it, even young players. But there's a lot of science involved with it, and we had to figure out a way to make you grasp this concept. And that's what we're going to do right now. Okay, here we go. Ball flight. The first thing you need to understand is that there are only three things that can change the flight of a ball. That's it. There's nothing else. We looked at all the research that was out there, we conducted our own research, and this is what we found. 3 main causes that will have an effect on the ball to change it. Now, I'm not talking about spin. I'm not talking about an underspin or an overspin that will cause the ball because of pressure. I'm talking about the simple ball flight. 3 things, that's it. Understand these 3 things, and you will be able to apply them to almost every kick that you have. Number 1 is the angle of the impacting object. Think about this like you would different golf clubs. The more upward angle on a golf club, the higher the ball will go. If the ball is struck with a flat object, the ball will go straight. If the ball is struck with an object facing upward, the ball will go up, much like a pitching wedge in golf. If the ball is struck with a downward facing object, the ball will go down. Second is the center or off-center impact. If the ball is struck in the center, the ball will go straight. If the ball is struck at the bottom, the ball will deflect up, much like a pop fly in baseball. If the ball is struck above center, the ball will deflect down. Number 3, swing angle. If the ball is struck in the center of the swing circle, the swing angle will be neutral or flat and the ball will go straight. If we catch the ball on an upward swing angle, the ball will follow this path and travel upward. If the ball is struck on a downward swing angle, the ball will follow and travel downward. Now this is where you can get a little confused. We're going to watch Mac do a chip shot. At first, it appears the ball is going to be struck with a downward angle. However, if you look closely, you'll notice that his foot creates a wedge shape which contacts the bottom of the ball. This causes the ball to rise quickly. Understanding a swing path. The normal kick is a circular motion. So when we come in, there's a circular motion. Our leg is swinging in a circle. That's a normal kick. Everyone does it for the most part. When they kick, there's a big circle going on. If I put a ball in front of this, you'll notice that if I put my plant foot right next to the ball, what happens to my swing circle? It's right in the middle. It's perfect. I'm hitting the ball right at the straight point. The ball is going to go pretty much low. However, if I move my plant foot back just about that much, what happens? I'm catching it on the upward arc. You'll notice the upward arc. Therefore, the ball is going to go higher. If I move forward and I catch it here, now what has happened? Now you can see that I'm on the downward arc. That's what's going to cause. Moving your plant foot has an effect on your ball trajectory. Now we're going to talk about swing path manipulation. Sounds great, doesn't it? So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to manipulate this circle and change the shape of it. Normally, if I was to strike the ball here, I would come in, have a circular motion. If I want to change that motion and I want the ball strike to make sure that that ball goes low, what do I have to do? I have to get rid of the upward arch. So I can simply release. Now what I want to do is I want to have the regular downswing, but I want to have that foot extend out rather than come up. Again, I'm going from round motion, round circular. Now what I want to do is I want to come in and almost like a step through. I want to exaggerate. The thigh and the knee are going to flatten out that after swing. So I come normal and I let it go through, let my thigh and knee go low and straight and exaggerate. Now I'm going to show you how this applies to other sports as well. I'm going to use the example of golf. Grab my trusty little golf club here. The average golf swing is a round circle. So let me show you. The average golf swing, circle. This is a golf swing. It's a big circle. Now, I'm on a golf course and I have a bunch of limbs in front of me and I have to push that ball low. How do you do that? You do your normal backswing, but as you come through, you allow your hands to carry through to the shot, and that flattens out your swing. The ball will go low because there's no upward arc. It will exaggerate the low shot. So, normal, round swing. Now I'm going to go and I'm going to exaggerate and flatten it. Same thing in a soccer kick. Start round, flat. Round, upward motion. Now, if you think about it too, if you want to hit a golf ball high, the same thing applies. Normally, you're going to hit a golf ball right in the center of your swing. If you want to get a little higher on it like a driver, where do you put that golf ball? You move it to your front foot. Why? Because you'll be catching it on the upswing. Same thing applies to the soccer kick. Enough of the golf ball. Let's get back to the soccer kick. So, the motion, a normal motion, round swing. That's a normal soccer kick. I want to go in low. I exaggerate my forward motion, allow my thigh and knee to go forward. Come in. That's a low shot. Round. Knee goes up. Low. Exaggerated. If I really want the ball to go high, I can combine these things. I can just step a little bit behind the ball. I can hit the bottom of the ball and exaggerate my thigh and knee flight. If I do all three of those, I strike the ball and allow my knee and leg to go way high, guess what? The ball is going to go way high. Now here's something that I want you to stay away from. I always hear that if you want to get a ball high, all you have to do is just lean back. What happens when you lean back? If you lean back, you shut down your hips. As you try and kick, you can't get a good rotation and you lose a lot of power. You don't have to do that. Always stay upright. Use the other adjustments that we're talking about. Strike at the bottom of the ball and manipulate your swing or your swing path by allowing your leg to create the shape you want. So if you want the ball to go high, round. Allow the leg to go up and follow the ball. Low. Keep it low. Let that ball go low. Volley kick. We stress this all the time in volley kicks. You have to kick volley kicks low. 71% of volley kicks and finishing kicks on a moving, bouncing ball go over the net. That's where they end up. But if people would learn how to manipulate that swing arc, instead of kicking a volley kick like this, which is going to be on the upward motion, have the step through. The exaggerated step through that changes that swing arc from round and up to forward. It's a forward motion. Now I'm going to do two shots for you and show you how this works. I'm going to show you two kicks. I'm going to show you a high kick and a low kick without leaning back. That was a high kick. Now let's go to a low kick. With my low kick, I'm going to exaggerate. I'm going to flatten out. I'm going to allow my leg to go straighter towards the target. Now, let's take a look at a youth player trying this same principle and see if he can make it work. Notice the swing angle of the leg and relative ball flight. Now, let's look at what happens to the swing angle when Dan leans back and forward. Notice that with a very slight lean forward, the center of the swing angle moves drastically forward, causing a downward swing angle. This is a good thing in most cases. Now, notice what a slight lean back does to the circle. Look at his right foot, which is his shooting foot. It has nowhere to go but up. What do we want you to learn from all this crazy stuff? We want you to understand that you can apply all of this information to every kick you make and change the flight path of the ball. Take your time and work with one kick. Make slight changes and watch the results. Keep in mind the difference may seem minor, but the difference in results can be huge. First, watch this volley kick. It appears to be a great kick. However, because the knee and thigh are allowed to swing up, the ball goes over the goal. Now, let's look at two shots where the swing angle is flattened, and you'll see the shots are low and on goal. The radar within you. Every human being has a natural sense within them. It's the ability to know where you are and your surroundings without having to see it. Great reactionary shooters work on this ability and become comfortable with it. It allows them to shoot quickly and without hesitation. The extra time it takes to visually confirm your target gives both keepers and defenders time to react and prepare. Watch the following clips and you'll notice one thing in common. The eyes of the shooter never leave the ball. They constantly stay on the ball and they rely on their natural radar. In the Advancing Player Training section, we show you how to develop this natural skill. Working with the beginner. Before you start training a beginning player, I want you to understand a few simple points. First, keep your training sessions short and allow them to merge into a game or something fun. Young players really just want to have fun, and a little trickery to get them to work never hurts. Make sure they also understand it's okay to do things wrong. Even the greatest players in the world at some point in their life kick the ball the wrong way. Understand you may not visually see results. As a trainer, you may not think you're making progress. However, it may be happening and you just don't see it. One of the first things that we're going to do is we're going to try and eliminate the problem from the evolution of the soccer kick, which is we push the leg through or we fail to load. Those are the two biggest problems we see: failure to load and a push through. To start that process, we start with a soccer hop. So, Ryan and Lindsay, the first thing I want you to do is you're going to approach the ball. You're going to have busy feet, hop and load. That's all I want you to do. Ready? Go. Busy feet, hop and load. Back up. Again. Keep doing it. Busy feet, hop and load. Again. Hop into it and load. Again. Busy feet, hop and load. Good. Just like you're about to kick the ball, you're going to stare at the ball, hop. That's the soccer hop. The soccer hop is just simple movement. It is a forward lunge and load. Always start with busy feet on your toes and then forward hop and lunge. Watch Dan very closely. Watch the position of his leg and watch for the soccer hop. We're going to compare this to a kick in just 1 second. Now, does this position look familiar? That's the soccer hop. Next step we're going to do is learn the V-swing. The first thing we have to do with the V-swing, though, is we have to understand that if we're trying to get a toe down kick or toe out kick, that they're going to hit the ground and it's going to hurt. So we want to go ahead and we want to teach them how to raise the hip so that they can swing through without hitting the ground. And it's a very simple motion. Just want you to stand behind the ball, put it like this, 2 feet together. Now what I want you to do is I want you to just bring your kicking toe back to your heel. Now I want you to raise up on your tippy toe, but I want you to do it by raising your hip. Lift your hip up. I want your toe. Again, do it again. Get your feet together, toe back to your heel, lift your hip until you can point your toe way down. Good. Now what I want you to do is I want you to keep that hip up and I want you to swing through just like this. Go ahead. Keep the V position all the way through. Good. So what we're doing is this motion where we have a V back, V through. The V motion doesn't really change. We just keep that V locked in and we're just going back and forward. Remember, this is the first time that young players have felt this motion. It's not going to be comfortable and their toe will have a tendency to come forward. That's okay. Now what we're going to do, let's jump in with the soccer hop and let's just swing the V through and step without kicking a ball. Pretend there's no balls in. Ready? 1, 2, 3, hop, swing and step. Do it again. Again, let me show you. Watch. Hop, swing, step. Keeping the toe down until the last minute. Ready? Hop. Perfect. Now we don't have to jump off our foot. We don't have to have a point where we jump. We don't have to see that. All we want to see is just a swing through and step. We're just going to leave that plant foot behind us. Let's try it again. Ready? Ready, hop. Good. But try and keep that toe pointed down as long as possible. Exaggerate that. Go ahead and do it again. Ready? Ready, hop. That's good. Very good. Here's one way that you can help battle muscle memory. Have the player run through, hop, grab their foot, then release the foot and allow the leg to swing through. A lot of young players have muscle memory already established and it's hard to fight this. This little drill will help. We're going to introduce young players to 3 basic kicks. There's a 4th we're going to introduce them to, but the 3 are the primary. Inside of the foot, outside of the foot, and an angle kick. So let's go ahead and let's do a soccer hop, load the V, and just gently come through with inside of the foot. Ready? On your mark, set, hop. Good. One more time. Inside of the foot. Hop in. Good. Now let's do outside of the foot. Hop in and swing through. Good. One more time. Outside of the foot. Now, this is where we're going to learn the angle kick. And the reason why we learn the angle kick is because the angle kick allows us to throw our toe down towards the ground without stubbing it. That's going to hurt. So we're going to come in and we're going to do a slight angle kick, and we're going to catch the ball right on the sweet spot of our foot that we talked about earlier. So it's going to look like this. We come approach the ball from an angle, we hop in, and we just push through and step. Go. Good. Now Ryan, you're extending your legs straight right here. I want to see you try and keep a little bit of a V in it, okay? So when we come through, try and keep a little bit of a V as you go through. Ready? And go. Good. Excellent. And remember, we're approaching from an angle. So our leg's going to come in at an angle and kick, swing, and then it can swing around back to the front. Ready? And go. Excellent. That's the angle kick. Now, let's talk about the fourth kick that we have to be careful about. We don't want to introduce right away, but we're going to need to introduce it, especially when we start teaching the volley kick. And that's the straight kick, where we come in, the leg simply goes straight back and straight forward. Straight back, straight forward. We maintain the V. Straight back, straight forward. We're just going to step through this, hop in, step through. Ready? With no ball. I just want you to hop in, straight back, like this. Go. One more time. Go. One of the big problems we have to deal with young players is they always want to kick hard and we have to slow them down. It's almost impossible. So we came up with a little drill that they have to do slow. And all they're going to do is they can only kick the ball far enough that it just rolls to that person's feet. And that's it. So let's go ahead and let's start with inside of the foot. Now remember, your goal is do a smooth motion through, step, but I want that ball only rolling to their feet. Ready? Go. Perfect. Again, keep your eye on the ball. Good. Try it again. Now I want you to do outside of the foot, same way. Ball should only roll. Now, when we do outside of the foot, you have to keep in mind that we have to tilt our body so that the ball goes this way. So as we kick, we're actually going to be a little bit tilted away, and we're just going to V swing through and step. Slow motion. Because I want to show you something. Right now, Ryan, what you're doing is you're hopping in and then you're loading. I want to see this. Hop and load, then step through. One motion. Ready? Hop and load, one motion. There you go. Good. That's it. That's the motion. Good. Now, let's switch over to the angle kick or even a lace kick. Either one you want to do. Hop in and be loaded and then just step through with the V, not a kick. Good. Again. Good. Let's make sure that after we make the contact, we just step through. Not jump, just step. Remember, as we hop, what do? Load. That's right. We hop and load at the same time. Good. Keep your leg a little bit bent. Good. Don't let that leg pop straight. Good. That's much better. Remember the knee to the chest feeling? Let's start doing that now. Let's start taking the knee to the chest almost. Beautiful. That is much better form. Excellent. Move back a little bit so you can get a nice big hop and load and knee to the chest. There you go. Don't just bring your knee up. I want you to step through it as you do it. Step through. There. Excellent. That was perfect. Perfect. Okay, let's stop it right there. Now, we start this drill And we start this drill very, very close, and I'm talking 3 or 4 feet to force them to kick soft until they get familiar with it. Then what we're going to do is we're going to step back and back and back until we get more, and then we can let them put a little bit of power into it, but we got to keep coming back in. If you see the form break down wide, bring it back in. Work out, bring it back in. Do that consistently. Let's talk about introducing or taking a child from an actual kick where we just kick with our toe and into kicking with the laces, and why that's impossible. It really is impossible, because if you go from this kick and now all of a sudden you put your toe down, what happens? And it hurts, doesn't it? I mean, you will sprain the top of your foot. So what we have to do is we have to learn to lift this hip up, and we have to learn to go ahead and kick through the ball. The easiest way to do that is with the angle kick, where we come in and we have the ability to throw our toe a little bit to the side, the sweet spot kick. We also will slow it down even more, and we'll do the straight kick, but we're going to do it very slow, and it's not a kick, it's just a step through. And we want to remember, if we do this fast, what's going to happen? We're going to stub our toe, and it's going to hurt. So the first thing we're going to do, Ryan, is going to come in just gently, V-swing all the way through. Stare at a point on the ball, and just come in an angle and just release your foot and your toe right at the ball. Come back over here and go ahead. Very good. Now come straight behind the ball. You'll notice that what we have is we have cones. We have the cones and we have the ball up, so that the child feels like, I have to raise this up some, otherwise I'm going to hit the cone. That's the feeling. Force them to lift up the hip some. So now what you're going to do is very gently, just come through and step. Keep your eye on the ball the whole time. Allow that little V to swing through. Go ahead. Good. Let's do it one more time. Set one up and I'll set one up. Got it? Angle back over here so that you can even more. I really want an angle, so you can come in and just sort of swing and let your body go through very softly. Go ahead and kick an angle one over there. Excellent. Now let's do the straight kick. The straight kick, I want you to go through it, and I want you to go towards the net after you're done. So it's going to be, okay? Go ahead and let's see it. Excellent. Very good. That's how we go ahead and we keep youth players from stubbing their toe. Use a cone and let them feel that they have to raise that hip up just a little bit to actually contact the ball. It's a great assistance piece. Once we learn how to load in a kick, the next step that we're going to see, or the next problem we're going to see, is the excessive push through that we talked about in the evolution of the kick, which is we come in and then we push through real hard, and we even sometimes fall on the ground. Once we learn how to load, it's just a simple motion, just like the golf swing, where we load and we release. And that's what we want to teach the young players, so they get rid of that excessive push through. Once contact is made with the ball, anything else beyond that, as far as force goes, doesn't make any difference. The follow through is just a gentle release of the energy. So what we want to do is we want to get them to load and punch. That's what we want to do. Start on the load and punch to help correct that excessive push through. Now Ryan, what I want you to do is, I've got a line set up here. Your shooting foot can't go past that line. You're going to shoot very softly, and all I want you to do is I just want you to just watch the ball, hop in, and just punch. You're going to do it at a medium speed. Just walk in and punch. Go ahead and let's do the first one. Good, very good. Let's go ahead and let's do the rest of them. Good. Your foot can go a little bit through, but try and keep it behind that line. Good. Now remember, we're kicking with the sweet spot, so come in at an angle, get a nice load, and just release at the ball. Good. Excellent. Now, instead of having this push motion, you'll notice that what we've done is we've gone to a load and release. Again, a load, release. More of a snapping motion down. Our whole body turns, snaps at the ball. The follow through is just gentle. Now we're going to set them up again, and we're going to let you do a little bit of a light follow through, okay? Good. Again. Excellent. Beautiful. Your whole body's relaxed except for that ankle, which is locked. Just come in and just pop. Excellent. Again. Excellent. Now we've helped cure. Now this drill, anytime you start to see that excessive pushover, pull this drill out. Line them on the line, load and punch and stop. Punch and stop. But we don't want just that motion. We can move it back and say, punch, gentle release. That's the transition. When it comes to beginning players, we don't want to spend a bunch of time on plant foot positioning. However, what we always see in beginning players is the plant foot is positioned too far behind the ball. Here's a simple drill that helps them get used to stepping closer to the ball. Here's a simple way to work on plant foot or your placement foot. All it takes is a ring. You can even take a can of spray paint, paint a circle on the ground, put it down, put the ball on the edge. All we're going to do is we're just going to run up very gently so we don't hurt our foot. Make sure our plant foot goes right inside that circle. Do a gentle kick. Go ahead. Good. Again. Nice and easy. Go ahead. Good. Again. Go ahead. Beautiful. Simple and easy, wasn't it? But it needs to be worked on. Let's talk about youth players and introducing them to a volley kick. This is not an easy thing to do, but if you follow the simple steps, it's an easy way to introduce at any age. When we start off with a volley kick, all we do is we hold it with our fingertips, barely with our fingertips. We lean over at the shoulder, and all we're going to do is just step through. That's all we're going to do, a straight volley. Lean, step through. So let's go ahead and let's start. Go ahead and just start through. I want you to hang over just like I showed you. Go ahead and just step through. Now hold it with your fingertips. There you go. Get it low. Just step through. Beautiful. Again. Go ahead. Good. Now the small ball. Beautiful. Now come back, side of the foot. Good. Keep your motion going forward. I want you to step through it. Keep going through. Beautiful. Excellent. And that's how we start with the volley. The one thing we want to do it with me, is we want to come back and don't let our foot go past our knee like this. Try it. That's what I want to see. It almost feels like I'm going to fall on my foot. Ready? Try it. Back, stop, knee is in front. Okay, let's try it. Ready? Hold the ball. Just go ahead and bounce them and do that same thing. Beautiful. Good. What happened there? Foot came out. Yeah, we did a flick. Ready? Remember, slow, we just want to do, foot doesn't go in front of the knee. Much better. That was good and low. Very good. Now we're going to work on side of the foot volleys. And it's pretty simple. It's just like a straight volley where we let the knee lead us. But this time we're going to do it with the side of the foot and the knee goes towards the bottom of the net. Very simple. You ready? Show me how you're going to do it without a ball. Just go in. Good. But one thing you can't do is what? Stop your motion. So let's go through and let's do it and keep going towards the net. Go ahead. Good. Good. Try it again. Let the ball go low. Don't rush. Now, we're going to actually bounce the balls towards you, but you've got to concentrate on one thing, and what is that? Knee, right? Yeah, your knee has to lead everything. Your knee leads on when you kick it with your laces. Your knee leads when you go side of the foot. And when we do outside of the foot, same thing. Your knee leads and it'll always go low. Beautiful. Go. Good. Good. Now we're going to talk about, some people call it a roundhouse kick. You can call it whatever you want. But all it is just a side volley like this, straight through. And the easiest way to learn this, and you can do this with me, is all we're going to do. Ready? Let's do it. Hands down by your side for balance. We're just going to lift our leg and step through. Again. Face this way so you don't kick me. We're just going to lift, across, and step. Good. Up, really bring it across, and step. Now, you got to stay light on this toe here because you can't be on your heel. Your weight's got to be on your toe. So when you go like this, you can step because you're almost going to leave that back foot. Good. Okay, now let's try it with a ball. Ready? Good. Ready? Number 3, so watch it carefully. Good. Now do the movement without a ball. Up, lace towards the net, step. Good. Ready? Here comes the ball. Good. Again. Good. And let this, step back here. Let your whole body turn towards the net when you shoot. Okay? Try it without a ball. There you go. Great. Ready? Beautiful. Ready? Comes the number 1. Good. Ready? Here's another 3. Really watch the ball. Good. Very good. Good job. When you watch the following clip, see if you can identify what we learned. Now, let's watch it in slow motion. Watch closely and you will see that the leg swings through in a V motion, keeping the ball low. This is a very difficult process to teach any player, not just beginning players. We're going to show you this clip in slow motion. Notice all the stutter steps taken prior to the shot. Here is a very basic way to introduce them to this feeling. We want them to realize that they can simply turn one of their strides into a shot and push it through the ball. We start this very, very slow, exaggerating large steps and just push through the ball. Next, we gradually increase the speed, going faster and faster. Young players need to learn the feeling of shooting in stride. You know, it's funny because when it comes to in-stride shooting, it really doesn't matter what age the player is. We always start with slow motion process, stepping through step by step, slowly till our body can feel that one of our strides eventually becomes a shot. Our goal is to remove the stutter steps in between a normal stride and a load and shot. This is a very difficult thing to learn. However, even young players, 7, 8, 9-year-old players can learn this motion. Just remember, this is going to take a long time to learn, but you'll notice one thing about a lot of these shots. The majority of these shots will be low ground shots. They'll be fast and low, and that's actually a benefit. When we talk about working with the advancing player, this is a time where we start to think, well, we need to work more on tactics. And that's true. We need to understand the game more at this point. But unfortunately, we need to remember that most of these kids that are now advancing players come from programs that don't have a basic skill program. And they haven't been working on basic skills. And we've got to evaluate these kids and say, you know what? I've got 14-year-olds that are still kicking with their toe, and something needs to happen. We've got to change this. We've got to go back, bring them all back to square one, evaluate, and make sure they're kicking the right way. Now we're moving on to advanced player items, so we're going to explain some of the simple items and how they tie into shooting and how they tie into soccer. The first one we're going to explain is the soccer hop. Why do we do this motion where we hop? Let me show you the 3 key points to it. Number 1 is when you receive a ball in, we're taught to receive a ball and touch it so it's out here so that we can step into it. That doesn't always happen. Sometimes the ball comes in and it's right under our feet. So if the ball is right under our feet, what do we have to do? Well, we have to push it away so we can step and shoot. What we want to be able to do is if we receive a close ball, we want to be able to load and shoot without pushing the ball away from us. And that's what the soccer hop does. The ball's in close, load, shoot. Next, repositioning. If I receive a ball in here and it comes in and I receive it, I have to turn the ball and turn my body to actually pass over to my left. If I receive the ball in close with the soccer hop, while I load, I can turn at the same time. So if I receive the ball, again, I can hop and I can turn. Receive, hop, and turn. Receive, hop, and I'm loaded to shoot. Great for wall passes. Point number 3 is one-touch shooting. You receive a ball in and you're here, the average soccer player, whether it's beginning or even advancing soccer player, wants to receive the ball and then do several touches until they feel comfortable at the point to load. And what we want them to be able to do is receive, one touch, hop, load, and shoot. Fast shooting, that's the key to it. But you have to understand the soccer hop. You have to understand that the first thing you do is right after your touch, load. Touch, load, shoot. So let me go ahead and show you, give you one example. Lindsay, why don't you go ahead and pass me in a ball? So I'm just going to touch. Excellent. Excellent. Very good. There you go. Excellent. Hop and leap. Get rid of that extra step. Touch. There you go. Perfect. Touch. Shoot. That's the motion. We can receive, hop, and turn and shoot. That's where the soccer, it's actually a pivot as well as a hop. Now what we're going to do is we're going to form a triangle and we're going to learn how to receive, hop, and pass. We're going to hop and pivot while we load and pivot. So I receive, I hop, pivot, and load. Receive, hop, pivot, and load. Again, you've got to start this in slow motion. It does not work fast in the beginning. So let's go ahead and try it. Ready? Lindsay, pass me a ball and I'll start. Touch, hop, go. Touch, hop, go. Touch. We try and do it with one step. Touch, hop, go. Touch, hop, go. Pivot on your hop. Great. Advancing players not only need to understand the soccer hop, but how it's used in preparing for passes and kicks. Don't make the mistake that so many people do. They overlook the soccer hop as just a trivial part of the soccer kick. It is vital for every kick in soccer. The V-swing is a critical part of the soccer kick. It maintains or it holds energy as it swings through. It also helps us deliver a lower shot. If we break that V-swing down and we flip that foot out, the ball's going to go high, like 70% of finishing shots do. Maintaining that V-swing delivers power and helps keep that ball low. Now let's talk about the V-swing when it comes to the advancing player. This is where we're going to step it up. The V-swing is heavily exaggerated. It comes way back and way forward. I want that knee coming up to the chest. When we do this, be careful because several times we'll have knees hit chins. So you have to watch out for that. Way back, way forward. Way back, way forward. Lindsay, go ahead and give me that motion. Toe to the ground. Drag your toe through the grass. Way back. There you go, way back. Now what I'm going to do is stay right there, is I'm going to show you the difference between a high power shooter and an average power shooter. What I want you to do is put your hand on my shoulder, and I want you to do load back with a V-swing, toe down. This right here, feel that pressure? That's a high power shooter. That's high power. The load, the thigh, everything, the tension is there, it's in it. And it comes through and it explodes right there, and then it releases. We try and not let the leg go straight out. There's still a little bit of a V, but we want to load heavy, explode, and follow through. One way to also do this is to hop with your V-swing. So what we're going to do, and this is hard, Lindsay's never done this one, but we're going to swing and hop. Hop forward, hop back. Hop forward, back. Go ahead and try it. Now she'll probably fall, but go ahead. Hard, isn't it?
Yes,
very, very hard. Okay. Ryan, run over here real quick. I want you to stand right here. I want you to do the same drill. Do the V-swing and hop forward, hop back. Forward and back, go. He's done it before. Now, Lindsay and I, Ryan, you can step back. We're going to go shoulder to shoulder. Now what we're going to do is we're going to swing as partners to help our balance. Ready? Go. Hop. Hop. Hop as we go forward. Advancing players need to feel the hip, thigh, knee, and lower leg all working together as one. One way to help get this feeling is to move to the ground. We perform the V-swing without a ball and with a ball, always stressing the movement of the hip, thigh, knee, and leg as one piece together.
Stop. Now we're going to put a ball in front of that. Integrating the V-swing into the kick is very important on the straight kick. It's important on every kick. The side of the foot, the straight kick, the outside of the foot, but it's extremely important on a straight kick. So what I'm going to do is we're all three going to shoot, but we're going to start with the hopping motion, and then we're going to go forward with our bodies, and we're going to, instead of hopping, we're just going to come off the plant foot. So Ryan, why don't you go first? Do a couple V-swings and hops, and then I really want you to stay down, let your knee come up to your chest, and go through. Nice and gentle, not too hard of a shot. Go ahead. Very good. Yeah, hop, hop, hop. Very good. Same thing. All we're going to do is we're going to hop, hop, stare at the ball. Okay, again with the V-swing, this time with the inside of the foot. Now you have to remember, inside of the foot, when I say a V-swing, there's a V-swing, the hip, thigh, everything's into it. However, we turn our leg and knee outward all the way through. When we load, it's out. When we come through, it's out. So let's go ahead. Ryan, give me some side of the foot, hop, hop, and then go in and shoot. Okay, go ahead. Excellent. Lindsay, same thing. Hop, keep that foot facing the goal the whole time. Good. Same thing. I'm going to come in, hop, 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 and swing. Same thing. The V-swing and the volley. The V-swing is absolutely critical in a volley because we have to have that lace going towards the net the entire time. And we just can't pop and we just can't kick because the lace will be going up. That's why we want to V-swing gently through it. Critical, critical, critical. Head down the whole time. Knee to chest, knee to chest, knee to chest. 3 times I said that. This is all we're going to do. We're going to come in, just sort of toss the ball, not worry about the shot, worry about the form. We're just going to come in and toss it. Knee to chest. Keeping that down and not wanting to strike a ball while we're up is the critical movement here. Go ahead and throw me a ball from there. And this is what we're going to do. My knee came right up to here because my head was down and the ball went dead low because that allows me to keep that lace in the same position all the way through. The volley shot. All the way through, even on side of the foot, all the way through, forward motion.
I want you to understand why perfecting your volley shots is so critical, and why we slow them down to basic motions. First, take a look at a very advanced player making 2 volley kicks. Both kicks seem very good. However, when we slow them down and look at the ball flight, you'll notice that one shot is on goal and the other is high. The minor difference in execution is very slight. However, the results difference is huge.
Introduction to the volley is pretty simple, but what we need to do first
is we've got to teach you the wrong way to kick. And let's look at the wrong way to kick. Lindsay, what I want you to do is when you come in and I want you to show them the wrong way, I want you to stop your body motion and kick a ball like 90% of youth players do. So I'm just going to bounce you a ball, half volley, full volley, doesn't matter, just gently come in and kick it. There we go. Ryan, same thing. Ready? Just come in gently, stop, and do a volley. Good. Now, here's what we want to try and correct. Normally on a volley kick, we see players stop and kick. That arc angle that we always talk about, now our foot's following the upward motion, and like we said, 71% of volley shots or finishing shots in a game go where? Over the net. Because our body motion has stopped and our angle of our kick is upward. Inside, top of foot, outside of foot, it doesn't matter. We're going to correct that by doing two things. Forward motion and allowing the thigh and knee to be the leading factor. Here's the simple way that we can go ahead and fix a volley kick. These are actually drain spout extensions, and you can buy them. They come about 3 feet long, cost about $5. Take a saw and cut them off into different lengths. You can do them at 3 inches, 10 inches, all different sizes, and guess what they do? They hold up a soccer ball very nicely, and they're lightweight. What I like to see, and it helps with plant foot positioning, is I like to see the ball frozen in time. A big mistake that we make is players step behind the ball when they volley kick. What that does is it forces the upward motion. We want you to crowd the ball. Again, we're stepping closer to the ball and we're just stepping through. We're not kicking. We don't want to kick. If we kick, we have to pause and our motion stops and the ball will always go high. So what we want to do, simply step in close to the ball, step through, and what helps us is we step over the tube with our toe pointed down on a straight kick, or our toes sideways all the way over the tube. So after the ball leaves, we step over it. That's the feeling that we want to get. We want to understand that we want to pause, let the thigh and knee carry through and keep going forward. All we're going to do on this is we're going to come in, laces, our knee and our thigh aim towards the bottom of the net. That's what pushes through. We push our knee and our thigh. The foot stays behind it the whole time. Come in. That's the motion. Side of the foot. That's the motion. Outside of the foot. You'll notice that my foot doesn't release and I don't kick. I'm pausing it and just pulling through that V swing. Every single shot will go low if you can master that. All right, now we're actually going to kick the ball. And what we want to do is we want to do this in slow motion. I'm going to do the first one, and what I'm going to do is we're going to learn a straight volley, where our leg comes straight back, straight forward, and we always keep going forward. We keep our toe down until we step over the cone and then down. So the motion looks like this. That's where we want to be. We want to step through that with our toe down and then down. When we eventually speed this up, we can actually come inside of the foot and we can do this with a very hard push, and we can add power to it later. The shot will be hard, but if we focus on the top quadrant of the ball, we let our body never stop, let our knee go towards the bottom, it's always low 100% of the time. And we just simply go. Very powerful shot. You don't have to kick it hard. the ball goes low every single time. Remember, the correct form on a volley kick can never be learned until we do this step. We have to use the frozen ball or very slow motion reprogramming phase first. The next step is to introduce a slower bouncing ball. More control, the ball is simply bounced in front of us. Then we move to balls being thrown towards the player. Anytime you see the foot flipping through, it's time to back up, slow down, and reprogram again. What I've got behind my back is the best 49 cents you'll spend on your soccer team or your soccer player on their entire career. And what it is just marker tape. And I want you to go buy this at Home Depot, Lowe's, hardware store, tie it to one side and tie it at about 2 to 3 feet. Then what we're going to do is we're going to pull it all the way across. And we're going to tie it off here. Now, the point of this and the game of it is no goal counts during your practice unless it goes under the tape. Every shot has to be low. It's easy to shoot high. It's easy to shoot over the net, but it's hard to shoot low. It's a wonderful drill, and if you can get soccer players in this mentality, it's going to do wonders for you. Normally, 70% of these balls are going to go up high, and what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and get every one of them low and under that tape. A little slow motion, exaggerated. I'm going to do front, side, anything I can do, but I'm going to exaggerate and try and let my hip step through. Okay, now that we've got this line set up, let's use it for another transition, which is going to be staying light on the plant foot. We want to keep it light. Anytime the plant foot, as we say, grows roots, you have this motion. A player comes in, they shoot, and they lean back. Again, they shoot and they lean back. We see that so often. And all we want, don't call it a plant foot, call it a release foot, call it a touch foot, whatever you want to call it, to change that mindset where it's just a touch and leave. When we come in, touch and leave. This is a great way to get them used to this. Good. Next one. Keep your momentum going forward. You're going to have to come back around it. Good. Keep your V swing. Don't let that leg pop out on me. Good. Again. All right, let's talk about the plant foot, and let's talk about the plant foot in relation to, do I step in front of the ball, even, or behind? Simple rule of thumb. Most of the time, I want to see some part of the ankle actually lined up with some part of the ball. So when we come in, when we actually are going to plant next to a ball, either it's the back of the ankle, front of the ankle, or dead even. I'm going to give you a lot of leeway here because there are a lot of different kicks. But go ahead and let's show. Just come in and just step next to the ball with your ankle pretty much. There's a good plant. Now hold that right there. That's the average foot plant when you look at advanced players. They're going to be stepping right next to the ball. They don't step behind it. They do step in front of it, but they almost never step behind it. Okay, go ahead and step back. The one time we are going to step behind it is if we have to shoot like a keeper, if we have to shoot a very, very high shot, that's when we might actually step behind it because we have to have that upward arc angle. So hop in and let's have your foot plant right about here. You're going to see keepers. When keepers come in, a lot of time, their foot's going to be behind the ball because they want to do a very high arching shot. But when they come in, you'll notice that when they strike, their strike is on the upward angle, of the ball. So they strike, and right after the strike, they're going upward. That's why it's behind. Now come in, right next to it. Now because we're right next to the ball, as our foot comes in and strikes, you're actually striking dead on the bottom of this arc angle. Now let's talk about a moving ball. You're running down the field as hard as you can. Guess what's moving with you? The ball. Does the ball stop before you strike the ball? No, and that's what we want to avoid. So what do we have to do? Well, have you ever seen a plant foot where someone placed their foot that looks like this? If they're in a full stride, they will, and that's a correct plant. Actually coming in and planting way in front of the ball, because if you're at full speed, that ball is going to be moving and it's going to come through. Players must become comfortable with planting their plant foot ahead of the ball. This must be practiced and will not come naturally. Watch this clip closely and watch how far away the plant foot is set before the ball comes in. Players should also learn to strike an incoming ball softly. Here we have a cone set up at approximately 60 yards away from the goal. Each player is instructed to plant early and strike soft at the ball. You'll notice that most of the balls at about a 50% strike easily carry the distance. Remember, failing to plant early will cause you simply to miss the ball in many cases. We're going to talk about the plant foot and where it points. Toe always points towards where we want to shoot. That's every kick in soccer except for one. Only one that's different is the outside of the foot. The outside of the foot, we point slightly off to the left if we're going to kick it straight ahead and we're a right-footed kicker. The ball is going to go off at an angle. So actually our shoulder turns in, we point away from our target very slightly, and we strike the ball through, but the ball is actually going to go this way. Again, every time we kick, our toe points where we want to go, except for outside of the foot. In stride shooting, we talk about it all the time, but it's the hardest thing to learn, even in advancing players. We've got a bunch of footage of great players that can't do this because they don't practice it. Obviously, you're not going to be able to do it if you don't practice it. It takes a lot of work. It took a long time for me to even get close to being able to do this. But if you watch the top players, especially big players, they have a tendency to super stride and then shoot. That's what we're going to show you step by step. First, you never slow down. Second, step past the ball. Third, your last step as you load is a load, but we don't shuffle. Your last step in stride is a load. I'm running, it's an automatic load, and I just swing through with my head down. I want the feeling of the knee to the forehead. That's what I want in this shot. Knee to the forehead, and keep moving through. We don't stop. Keep those certain points in mind where we're stepping past the ball. As we step past the ball in one of our strides, we're simply going to swing through with our head down like this. The first thing we're going to do is take a look at players trying this at a slower pace. All we're trying to get them to do is step past the ball and make one of their strides a load. Now, we're going to look at players increasing the speed. You'll notice that most players struggle with this simply because they have a hard time stepping past the ball and creating that natural load from one stride. In-stride shooting is absolutely key for all players to learn. It's not natural. They will resist this, and it's hard for even advanced players to learn this form. The wonderful benefit about in-stride shooting and stepping past the ball is that the majority of shots will be low and fast. We're about to show you a few clips. The first two are of a ball traveling about 30 miles per hour and 50 miles per hour. The next two are of a shooter taking two shots, one without looking at a target and the other with looking at a target. See if you can grasp our point. Our point, increasing power or ball speed has little change or effect on the reaction time for keepers and defenders. However, removing the need to visually identify targets and removing hesitation time greatly increases the level of surprise. We're going to show you how to become more of a reactionary shooter by 1. Using your natural radar, 2. Shooting through traffic, and 3. Shooting with close pressure. Talking about the human radar, my Jack Russell actually allowed us to borrow his ball, and his bandana, and we're going to use it to talk about the radar. The mind is an extremely powerful thing, but it has to be exposed to what it's trying to understand before it can understand it. What we're going to do is a simple drill. Every player needs to do this. They don't need to watch it. Every player needs to do this. Now what I want you to do is just turn and throw at the target. Just look at it, turn and throw. Throw it at the bottom of the target. Now, put on the blindfold. Now she's got on her blindfold. Here's the ball. You're in the same spot that you were before. Now we're going to move to the left. Follow me. Stop. Move back. You're back where you were before. Now we're going to move to the right. Stop. Come back. Keep your back to the goal. Okay? You're right where you were before. Now I want you to turn and throw the ball. Come back. Whichever hand you want. Now I just want you to turn, same way you did, and throw at the target. It takes time, and you have to work on this, but you'll start to understand you don't have to see something to understand where this is. You will eventually understand an approximate location of where you are and where your target is. Even though it's to your back, we understand that I know where it is. I know where it is. I know where it is. That's the sense that we want to have with a soccer player. Helps us become a reactionary shooter without having to visually see and confirm a target before we shoot. Part of the feeling with the radar inside of us and knowing where we are is the ability just to shoot. Not to have to visually identify our target, but just to take a ball and immediately fire it at goal. The reduction in time versus how hard we kick a shot is amazing, and we're going to show you. The first thing we're going to do is you're going to receive a ball, you're going to touch the ball, you're going to visually recognize your target, come back down and strike. The second series is going to be as soon as your ball comes into you, you're going to turn and strike without looking at the target. Got it? While you watch the following clips, I want you to understand one thing. Visually confirming your target not only adds time to your shot, but also takes your focus away from the ball. Often, we must take additional touch when our eyes return to the ball. This process can add up to 5 full seconds. Next drill, here's the progression. Ball's going to come in, one touch, keep your eye on the ball, and shoot. Try and keep it fast and with one movement. Okay? Now, watch what happens when we remove any touch at all. You'll notice that the preparation time for keepers and defenders goes from about 2 seconds down to almost 0. Now we're going to put a live person in and we're going to add pressure to it. Offense, defense. Ball comes in, both are going to move a little bit towards the ball. We're actually going to make them freeze a little bit here so we don't move off camera. Normally they both move towards the ball. Ball's going to come in. Defender, you're going to come in because you see the ball. She's going to block, touch, and shoot without looking at the goal. I don't have the time to look. I've got to touch it fast and I've got to move fast. As soon as I touch, shoot. Soccer hop. Hop, load, shoot. Use that soccer hop to pivot and load. Facing here, hop, load, shoot. This is one of my favorite drills. We call this Big Brother, Little Sister. We're mad at Big Brother and Little Sister. We want to hit them with the ball. Not really. But we don't want to use real players for this drill, so we use boxes. You can go out, and what you can do is we've bought, they're $1, $1.50. They're about 12 by 12 or 14 by 14 by 36 boxes. Stand them up and now you have defenders. It's a great way to practice, and what we're trying to do, it's okay to touch into traffic and hit someone. When you shoot, you don't worry about your crowd. Don't feel like you have to have this big room to shoot. That's what we want. Touch, shoot. If it hits someone, it's okay. 50% air, 50% people, 50% chance of it going in the net. That's a great percentage. I'm going to feed a ball in. I've got 3 diagonal sections in here that I'm going to feed into. So let's go into number 1. You ready? Great. Great. Now, there's a good example. 3 shots, all air. Doesn't always happen that way, but that's a perfect example. Great. Second spot, over here more. Touch it in. Great, perfect. That's what I want to see. Ready? Perfect. Only 1 box was hit. A great way to practice. I talk about the straight kick all the time, and it's one of my passions in teaching when it comes to soccer. Unfortunately, with U.S. players, it's simply just overlooked. We might teach it once in a while, show it to a player, but we don't program it into players. Very few players. Lindsay's a good example of a player that had a coach from South Africa, and he was hugely popular, hugely focused on the straight kick. That's all he taught. And she is a beautiful striker of the ball. You can see it in players. I see players that are 17, 18, even into college level players that can't perform a straight kick properly. Now, they may be able to come up and do it once or twice, but I mean in a game situation, they have no load. They've never been repetitively trained on the straight kick.
Well, the first personal trainer only taught the straight kick because that's what was most effective, and that's what he grew up with over in South Africa. So the straight kick is what they use all over the world except here.
When I was in my young teens, I had a coach that was from Scotland. He'd come over to America to start coaching soccer here. He was very, very big on fundamental skills, the straight kick that most Europeans use, but we in America tend to brush over if we can. So he was very big on me learning exactly what was going on with my feet when I was actually touching the soccer ball.
Understanding the difference between an angle kick and a straight kick. It's one of my pet peeves. We have to learn the straight kick. The straight kick is straight through and straight back with a large load in the leg, and it comes straight through. Angle kick is anytime we start to swing that leg outward. Casey is a natural outward shooter. She shoots with the instep. She naturally shoots, and she shoots at a little bit of an angle when she comes down, and she shoots at an instep. Now, you had a coach from Scotland who, after he coached you, went and played professional soccer, but one of the things he was absolutely dead set on was what? Making sure that you could learn the straight kick. Now, there probably weren't a lot of players that actually utilized that because they didn't drill on it enough. Even yourself, I bet you found, well, you know what? I never really pulled it out of my arsenal a lot because I never drilled it and drilled it and drilled it. It was a last resort. Exactly. Same thing. Now, you're different. I have a hard time getting her to do an angle kick. When I tell her to do an angle kick, she gives me this look like, she comes in and almost every shot in some form or manner is a straight kick. It's a straight kick. If I tell Lindsay to do an angle kick with a sweet spot, she comes in and then she ends up doing a modified straight, which is fine. You're going to see that. You're going to see some people even teach a modified straight kick, where instead of coming in and striking with the laces, we actually come through at a little bit of an angle and we turn our foot and strike it here. Some people teach that. I don't believe you should teach it to youth players. I believe you teach the two basic kicks. Learn a straight, learn an angle. After you master those, go play all you want. Do anything you want with it. But those are the two basic kicks. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to show you exactly how to figure out, am I doing a right straight kick? What I've got here is I've got a rebounder, I've got a soccer hop set up with a straight line. And we're going to get in and we're going to strike it, and we're going to strike it, and we're going to strike it, and we're going to do it over and over again, slow motion. Then we're going to move up faster. Then we're going to move up faster because we have to reprogram. One of the things that every player must learn is the difference between a muscle memory and just seeing how to do something. If you get shown how to do something, as soon as you get into a game, you won't do it. A ball comes at you, it's muscle memory. You have to reprogram that. That's why we go back, especially on advancing and advanced players. They have so much muscle memory and so many habits. We've got to go back to step one and break it down. The first step when working with an advancing player is to slow down this motion, place a line on the ground, and observe the path of the foot. We make any corrections that we need to with either the path or position of the foot. Corrections may include a foot path that swings outside or inside the line, or an ankle turn. Whether the foot is turned inward or outward, that is wrong. The foot should be locked in a straight position with the laces facing the ball. Step number 2, the player strikes down the line, maintaining a straight leg and straight foot straight down the line. Step number 3 is we move back slightly, move the ball off to the side of the line, still reinforcing that there is a straight line that the leg and foot need to travel. Next, we shoot on goal with a straight line still present, increasing the speed and power. Remember, we want the line on the ground to reinforce in the player's mind that this is a straight path. let's talk about the transition in the straight kick. There is definitely a transition in the straight kick from a beginning to an advanced player. When we start with the straight kick, we have a smooth step-through motion. There is little explosion at the ball, and we simply want the player to maintain a V-swing through the shot. As the player advances, we can then work on having a strong explosion point at the ball. This eventually becomes a very quick, powerful, explosive shot. You'll notice, as this starts to happen, the ball will be very powerful and have little spin. Using a straight kick, but we're going to use a straight kick and we're going to play with striking the ball off center. We're going to watch the spin and we're going to watch how the ball deflects. Deflection is not a turn because of pressure differences. Deflection is I push you on the right side, you go to the left. That's what deflection is. I push the ball on the right side, it goes left. So when we strike the ball on the right side, two things are going to happen. We're going to strike it on the right side. The ball is going to deflect to the left, but it's also going to have a right to left spin because we also have friction on our foot. And the friction is going to apply torque and the ball is going to spin. Now the only thing you have to concentrate on for this exercise is maintain your straight line, and I want you to strike the ball right about here. And I want you to watch your foot strike the ball. I don't want you to watch for results on this, okay? That's the hard part because you're going to want to see what happens. I don't want you to see what happens. I want you to watch your foot strike perfectly right here. Okay? So we're coming through and we're going to do pretty close to a full speed kick. We're just going to stare at that right side, strike, and watch our foot hit it. You have to come in perfectly straight. Watch this next kick in slow motion. What we want you to learn is that whether it's intentional or unintentional, striking the ball off center will cause a huge amount of deflection. Casey is approximately 25 feet away from goal, and watch how far the ball veers to the left. There's only one way that an advancing or an advanced player can learn the straight kick. It's through repetitive motion training. Repeating this kick over and over, time and time again, will slowly and gradually program the muscle memory. Here's another great visual summary as to why we have to have a straight kick in our arsenal. Keep in mind during this drill that Lindsay has been told to only use a straight kick. Casey has been told that she must approach the ball from a 45-degree angle and use an angle kick. I want you to look at this picture. We have a line on the left and cones on the right. I want you to imagine that both are defenders, one on the left and one on the right. You'll notice that with a straight kick, we can continue a straight travel, the ball stays in front of us, and we have the ability to strike. However, when we move to an angle kick, we are forced to either step across the line into a defender's path or push the ball over the cones into a defender's path. This is a crucial element for any great striker. Now we've got all this information, how do we deliver it to the players? We've got to understand as coaches that players have very short attention spans when it comes to lectures. We need to keep them short and pick one subject at each practice. Keep this information phase to about 5 or 10 minutes. Then move on and apply it to a physical activity. When we start to work with the beginning player, we want to keep it basic, we want to keep it simple. All we want to do is expose the basic player to the simplest of moves. We want to repeat this over and over at every practice in the beginning until it becomes a muscle memory. First, we start with a soccer hop. Then we move to the V-swing. Now we combine the two and we do a pass-through without a ball. Now we put a ball in front and we only allow the ball to be kicked 3 to 5 feet. You want to perform each kick and make sure that the leg and foot is positioned properly. Now we can also move to the volley. Simple, small movements, emphasizing the step through. Perform this system at the beginning of every practice with young players. If you do this, it'll become a muscle memory and you'll see great results. Now we have a little twist for you when it comes to working with the advancing player. Advancing players might resist these basic movements at first, but they must perform them. When players first arrive at practice, we want you to pair them up, and we want you to pair them up in a certain way. We want you to pair up your stronger players with your weaker players. You must assign the pairs. They also must be assigned right foot to right foot and left foot to left foot. These pairs of players are responsible for watching each one of the players' movements. As an example, when we do the soccer hop, each player inspects the foot on the backswing to make sure it's loaded properly. They indicate by saying OK. We allow this buddy system for checks to make sure that every player is performing the proper movement. The coach can't watch it all the time. Again, we always start with the basics. We start with the soccer hop, the V-swing, and all 4 swings. Next, we move to the ball. We perform all 4 kicks. With the advancing player, however, we allow the balls to be moved farther and farther apart. This distance can be quite large. It trains the players to maintain proper form even when the kick is strong. Don't forget, however, it must start small and in slow motion. If you see the player starting to break proper form, they must come back in to a smaller distance. When it comes to the volley kick, we start the same way. We start with small distances, performing each volley. We want the players to understand the difference between low and high on each foot. Now, here's where the twist comes in. After 5 or 6 practices of performing this routine, we're going to switch feet. Now, the same routine has to be done with the weak foot. Be prepared to see some horrible kicks, even in advanced players. If you really want to take an advancing player to the advanced level, they must be able to perform every single kick properly with both the strong and weak foot. Well, practice is over for now, but I want to make a couple quick points before you go. I want to stress again the main principle of our video. That main principle is don't try and fix something up here. We want to fix it down here. And I'll explain what I mean with a little story. I had a good friend who was a soccer coach, and he was coaching a good level team, probably about 16-year-old players, and these players were good players. And they were working on wall passes. A problem came up where the wall passes, this whole drill was going horribly. The wall passes were bad, they couldn't receive them right, they'd pass the ball, their passes were way off target, the weight of the pass was horrible, and after about 20 minutes of this, he finally just got frustrated and said, "Everyone take a break." We got together and we talked for a minute, and I said, "You know, Coach, here's what we're trying to do. We're repeating a wall pass drill over and over and over, thinking that we can fix the wall pass drill by fixing the wall pass drill. And what I want to show you is what we need to fix to make the wall pass drill work. So we went over, and I spent 15 minutes with the guys, and we went over the basics. We went over a soccer hop. We went over the fact that we hop and load whenever we're going to kick a ball, that we can use the soccer hop to receive, hop, turn, and load and reposition. We went over the fact that the foot is locked in the position, the proper position, when it comes back, and it stays that way all the way through the kick. Well, guess what happened? As soon as we did this short session with the players, they immediately became professional-looking players when it came to the wall pass. The wall pass was fixed because the problem was not the wall pass, the problem was the kick. That's what we want to get across to you. So many times we try and fix a problem up on an upper level when we need to go to a basic. Fix what's broken, fix the kick, and you'll fix the drill. Well, this is Coach V signing off. I thank you again for watching the video, and I just wanted to say thank you to all the players and coaches that work with us on this. We work with players from anywhere from 7 years old all the way up to 27 years old, all the way up to professional players. We work with players from all around the world. We work with players from England, from Brazil, from Argentina, all over the U.S. It's been a great experience, and I hope this experience is an eye-opener for you as it was for us.